So everyone's been cooking more, everyone's home with their families, and we're excited to help you. So we are going to be sharing some recipes, we'll be sharing a lot of tips and techniques, and hopefully we'll be having a lot of fun, and you'll be having a lot of fun in your kitchen afterwards. So my name is Sarah Young, welcome. I am part of the Kraft Heinz Culinary team, and I'm also a mom of two kids, Lucas, who is 7, and Caroline, who is 4. So the reason I mention that is because today we are going to be talking about cooking with your kids. Now, this is something very, very near and dear to my heart. I grew up cooking in the kitchen with my family from a very young age, and always like to try and experiment and love the challenge. So I am trying to do the same with my kids. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why it's important to get your kids cooking in the kitchen. You know, first of all, it's just a great way to teach your kids how to prepare their own food. It's a great sense of accomplishment for them. They feel very, very proud when they learn how to do something, and it can be the simplest task at a very young age. It's also just really great for the whole family to choose a recipe, make it together, take turns, you know, doing different parts of the recipe, and then of course enjoy it when you eat it. And lastly, it's just an amazing opportunity to teach outside the classroom. So there is a lot of learning to be done in the kitchen, and you know, it's great to apply all of those things that the kids are learning in school. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is just kind of nutrition and enforcing, or not enforcing, I don't want to say, but encouraging a balanced diet. So something that we like to say in our house is there are all the time foods and there are also sometimes foods. So all the time foods, as you may guess, are things that you can have all the time. Sometimes foods are just on special occasions, or, you know, sometimes. So I use those phrases because I want to teach moderation and really not say anything about, you know, never having those or not including them, but just enjoying everything in moderation as much as possible. The other thing, if you are a parent, you know what, actually, I forgot to mention, if you do have a question, since this is a live Q&A, just pop your question in the comments, and I will try and answer it at the end. And if you just joined, we're talking about cooking with your kids. So the other thing, if you're a parent, you may have heard the word why come out of your kid's mouth. Maybe once, maybe twice. Why? They always want to know why. So I have found that it's really been, I've been successful sharing with them, explaining to them the why behind why we eat certain foods. So for instance, milk, yogurt, and cheese have calcium, which supports strong bones and helps us grow. Also, fruits, vegetables have fiber and vitamins and minerals, which help support a strong immune system. So kind of connecting the dots for them so that they can reason and kind of understand the reason behind eating some of these foods has been really, really helpful. And I have also found that getting my kids into the kitchen helps them and encourages them to try new foods. I really never try and shy away whenever I'm prepping foods. If they're kind of sneaking up right here next to me, I always encourage them to snack on whatever is on my cutting board, within reason, of course, but even if it's raw, I mean, if they want to try some just plain zucchini or something like that, if they're curious about it, I always encourage them to do so, and I encourage you to as well. One other thing that you can get your kids involved in is choosing snacks. So if you're a parent, you've probably heard, I need a snack a lot lately too, and I can definitely say that I'm struggling to always keep up with the amount of snacks that my kids seem to need now that we're all home together. So I wanted to share with you something that's really been working for us. And that is, I try and prep at the beginning of the week, and I include my kids in this. You know, this is stuff that they can easily help me with. I try and prep these deli containers. I really like them because they are clear and I can see what's in them. They're easy to open and they wash up pretty easily. I just get them, at the store. I fill them with snacks that I feel good about them just grabbing and enjoying any time of day. Little sweet mini bell peppers. I have fruit. I have pre-washed berries, some cherry tomatoes. My kids are pretty big veggie eaters, so I'm lucky. And this way, this helps not only get lunch on the table faster because I can just grab things and kind of compose a lunch, but also they can just grab a snack. So those are on low shelves in my refrigerator. Now, I also want to share with you something that was shared with me a couple years ago that I have started doing. This was shared with me by one of my colleagues, and I loved it. I thought it was super smart. It's a permissible snack bin because don't get me wrong, my kids want something other than a nutritious snack all day long. So in here are some crunchy snacks and things that are kind of satisfying, salty, things that they love. So in here, I have all things that I feel good about. They don't have to ask for a snack. This is, again, on a low shelf in my pantry. So I have a big bag of nuts. These are just our Planters nuts that I've mixed together. I have cashews and almonds. I have sunflower kernels. I have some dried fruit, granola bars, applesauce pouches. And then I like to keep these little containers in there. And this encourages them, again, to make a good choice, serve themselves an appropriate portion, and they can just go on with their activity. They don't have to ask me for this. They can go and prepare it themselves and feel, empowered in the kitchen. Okay, so we've talked about good snacking and some, solutions for keeping up with our kids. The other important thing when you're cooking with your kids in the kitchen is to reinforce safety. So we all know that accidents can happen, and the kitchen can, be the place where those accidents happen. So really starting from the beginning, teaching knife safety, respect for the kitchen is just a really important thing. So not putting your knife into your sink with, where someone couldn't see it in hot soapy water, or turning your pan, making sure the pan handle isn't sticking out so that if someone walks by, just being cautious of hot pans, using appropriate protective coverings like oven mitts, when you're taking things out of the oven. Communicating to your kids about all of these things as you're cooking together. I've personally found that my kids like to practice these things at their play kitchen, so they have gotten a lot of good practice with that, and our kitchen is, right over next to the kitchen, so as I'm cooking, they're sort of mimicking what I am doing. I mentioned that I like to do, activities with my kids and cook with my kids in the kitchen, so we're probably actually going to make something like this today. We like to make, I have some popsicle molds right here. You could use little paper cups if you wanted to, but we'll make fresh homemade popsicles sometimes. That's a great thing for kids because it really allows them to be creative. So you could blend up some yogurt with fresh fruit. You could make pudding pops and stir in some fresh fruit into those. You can also make popsicles using Jell-O if you didn't already know. And the trick with those is that they actually melt slower than normal popsicles. So it's kind of a win-win with the gelatin. Plus you get that great fruity flavor. I wanted to show you something that I like to do with my kids because, again, it's really creative. They get to participate in a lot of the prep. It's beach cups. So we have actually tried to have some theme weeks here. There's been so many great ideas lately. I'm starting with just a package of vanilla pudding and some milk. And so we had a water theme week where we did lots of things with water, experiments with water. And so this was one of the things that we did, which was a beach cup. So You know, perfect example right here, teaching the kids outside of the classroom, right? Measuring, what if you need to cut the recipe in half? What if it's a big recipe and you need to, you know, cut the measurements? If they're learning fractions, you know, in late elementary school or things like that, they can apply all of that in the kitchen. So I'm just whisking up the pudding. I added 2 cups of vanilla, or 2 cups of milk to my vanilla pudding. And then I just have these clear cups. So what we're gonna do, you just wanna whisk it for about 2 minutes. This is such a fun recipe. My kids really like doing dirt cups as well. And that has chocolate pudding with chocolate sandwich cookies that you crush up on top and gummy worms. So really you can get creative. You could layer fruit with this, you could layer cookies, you know, really anything goes. All right, so I've whisked that, and then all I'm going to do is spoon it in. And again, there's really no cooking involved here. So this is really easy for kids of any age to do. And, you know, I love that. So I would have my kids whisk, and I would probably have them crush up the graham crackers. So I just have a couple graham crackers in a bag here, and this is obviously going to be the sand. So we'll put these on top. And then it's fun for them to be able to decorate it and customize it. And you know, cooking is creative. And so teaching your kids to embrace that, you know, embrace the mess, embrace the fact that, you know, we can learn in the kitchen. So we have sand, and then we have these little graham, bear-shaped grahams, and I put them in a gummy candy, like a little inner tube, and I'm gonna put that right on top, and then I have some little mini gummy fish that are also going to go on top. And you know, that's just such an easy little snack for your kids to have. It's easy for them to make, and they'll feel really, really proud of what they've created. So those are some of the tips that I have for you with cooking with your kids. I'd love to take some of your questions. So, okay, I find my containers at like a wholesale food store. Usually they sell in bulk, and you can find them in lots of different sizes, half sizes, and these are 1 quart. I love them, and they come in big sleeves, so it's like you could probably find them at any warehouse. Okay, what is a good age to have your child start helping you in the kitchen? So you can start as young as, you know, as young as like really 3, I think. But I think it's always great to find ways to talk to your kids about food. I remember when my kids were babies, I would just kind of wheel that swing or bouncy seat into the kitchen when I was cooking dinner, and I would just talk to them about food and what I was doing. It was, you know, kind of therapy for me when I was home all day on maternity leave and things like that. So, but get your kids involved, you know, as young as 3. And we have some great ideas for kind of what are some appropriate tasks for kids by certain age on myfoodandfamily.com. Easy recipes like, you know, using Jell-O or fresh fruits and vegetables. There really are so many. We have a great dedicated place on My Food and Family. You can search recipes for kids and find a whole collection of great ideas for ideas to make with your kids. You know, I really have turned to my kitchen for the educational piece since we've been doing e-learning at home. There have just been some days when we need a break from it, and I have found that I can do a good deal of teaching in the kitchen and kind of bring some of those things to life for them in a different way. So whether it's measuring or dividing or adding or reading the recipe and just following the procedure, I think all of those things are great teaching moments. And until then, let's all keep cooking together. Thanks a lot. Bye.